Because he created it, and because he sees all things, because God knows all things, and because he is present in all things. Watch this, Resurrection Center. Nothing takes our God by surprise. Nothing. See, in order for God to be taken by surprise, it would mean that God would have been uncertain, that our God would have been ignorant meaning unaware of, about what was coming. And the Bible teaches us, church, that God is never ignorant about the future. He's never ignorant about anything. He is never uncertain about the past, the present, or the future. First Lady's favorite verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Psalms 139:16 says, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. That's powerful. See, from God's perspective, he sees the past, the present, and the future, all at the same time. And that we need to take great joy and comfort in this fact, church, that God knows everything that is going to happen in our lives. And he knows our future. And think about this. He doesn't just know our future, but he's already been in our future. He not only walks with us day by day, he walks in our future even before we arrive in our future. See, our problem is, here's our problem. Sometimes we're looking at things and we're crying out to God and we're telling God about how bad things are. And God says, things look real bad to you, but they look real good to me, because in your bad, prayer has never looked so good. See, nothing drives us to the place of prayer like the storms of life. See, sometimes we are crying out to God for an answer, and at times God seems like he's turning a deaf ear to our prayers. But sometimes when we are praying, God is not talking to us, but he is talking to our solution. See, just because God is not talking to you about your problem that you're facing does not mean that God is not talking to your answer. Just because God doesn't let you in on what he is doing does not mean that God is doing nothing. Just because God is silent does not mean that God is not working. And I want you to know that while you're sleeping, he's working. While you're sitting at home right now, maybe still in your pajamas, maybe got up, got all dressed for church, and you got your best on because you want to honor the Lord in that way, and you're watching on streaming live in your home. I want you to know, even though you're home, God's still working. God is orchestrating. God is arranging. God is moving things according to his own counsel and his own will, because our God never sleeps nor slumbers. Matthew 10:29 tells us that 2 sparrows are sold for a penny, and not one of them will fall to the ground apart from our Father. Church, God is already preparing for everything we're going to face tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Our hope and our trust is not in governments, is not in society, is not in stock markets. Our hope is only in God. What the future holds may surprise you, but it doesn't surprise him. And that's why we need to unpack and follow God's pandemic preparedness and response plan for our lives. And I realize that I'm taking a long time to give this introduction, but it is Sunday. And where are you going to go? The story that I want to use to build my case for this sermon is found in the book of Genesis chapter 6. And it's in this text that we read about the life of a righteous man by the name of Noah. Now, if you study this text with me, I'm going to show you that God's pandemic preparedness and response plan for Noah is still relevant and still practical for you and I as we live and face the current global pandemic living in 2020.